Good morning, gardening friends. It is a beautiful day today, and I thought I'd start here in the kitchen with showing you my cuttings. These are coleus that I took this last week. They've just been in water for 3 or 4 days. Nothing's happened yet. I am happy to report this is one of 2 of the torch begonias that I cut. There are 2 in this pot, and I rooted them a couple of weeks ago, and I put them in dirt this past week, and they have yet to wilt. So they seem like they are doing well. I have 1 more begonia yet to cut, and since I was so successful there, I thought I would take some more cuttings. I can't believe this daffodil is still looking good from last week yet. Of course, the aspidistra that I'm trying to bring back as a houseplant, it still looks fine. I have a lot of cut flowers. That's to cheer myself up when I'm not feeling well. But as I am feeling better, it even makes it better yet. It makes it seem like spring. Here you can see my Spathiphyllum is blooming. Here's another flower bud here. That is an old plant. I bought that plant probably 10 or 15 years ago, and I put it in what was popular then was a basket garden, like an Easter basket, plain with no colors or anything, that you put like 3 or 4 different plants in, like African violets and other things, and then put moss over the top. It was like a little dish garden. Well, this thing was only about 4 or 5 inches tall at the time. That and the African violet are the only 2 things that have survived from that original dish garden. And of course, it's tulip time at the local grocery store. So of course I have a bunch of fresh tulips. I've noticed these yellow ones. They're a little longer in flower, almost like a lily flowered tulip. My last batch lasted me for 5 days. And the only reason I really wound up throwing them out was the leaves turned yellow. There's Miss Mimi. You getting up today? Probably not. She's getting older. She's 20 this year. Let's have a quick sit in the front porch. Show you everything that's blooming here. The last of my red amaryllis are beginning to bloom. Of course, the nun's orchid is still in flower. I did buy another orchid last week. Let me get as close to it as I can to give you a close-up. It has a few dead blossoms. What I usually do is, I'm not good with orchids, regular like Phalaenopsis type orchids. I buy them, I let them bloom, and then I give them to a friend. And what he does to them, I don't know, but they will come back for him. So I enjoy them while I can and then pass them on. This plant in the blue pot up here, the Ephesia, has done really well. I put 2 in there. Oh, it has a blossom. Let's see if I can show you what it looks like. It's a shame you can't see them, but that pot has no drainage. It's a bonsai pot that I had, but I like blue and white. Here you can see the coleus that I took cuttings from. And there's another of the torch begonia. Those are the cuttings I took from that. They're coming green here because I put this, it's in a shadier spot. If you put it in the sun, it will do better. Let me get out of this very carefully. Oh, I see my primrose is wilted. I will water that today. Here's where I took the green coleus from. Looks pitiful now, but it won't resprout. And I cleaned up, well, last week, I repotted that African violet. That was the other one from that original ditch garden. And this one, which you can't see because of the bird's nest fern, I bought last year, but you can see there's a chunk out of one side. It had two rosettes starting, and I don't like that. I prefer a single rosette. So I cut the other one out. I could have rooted it, but chose not to because I have enough African violets. There's the last of my Christmas cactus blooms. And ta-da! The plant of the week is my species amaryllis. It's a butterfly amaryllis. I think Papio. These are what they look like in the wild. In other words, there's been no hybridizing to that amaryllis. It went from that to that with a little help from its friends. I do like the species. I have another one in the back, but it's not blooming yet. Oh, no, I don't. I tell a lie. It's over here. But it has no blossom this year. It will usually bloom every year. That is 5 years old. I got it from Walmart. I got both of them from Walmart. And I think it took 3 or 4 years for the first blossom. And it did bloom last year. So it's worth waiting for. They are spectacular. No scent. But then amaryllis tend not to have scent. I see Miss Mimi has finally been eating her winter rye. I planted her a pot of winter rye just for her to eat, and she's been nibbling it. This is the torch begonia prior to cutting. So I'll cut it back halfway and root all of the stems, and I'll have another batch of torch begonias. They do well out on the back deck. Let's go outside. Pansies still are looking well. The potager I cleaned up last week, and I planted some lavender here and there, trying to reclaim this area as a herb food area. I have to admit the blackberries did extremely well this last year. They've held on to their leaves. They've changed the beautiful maroon color. And there's my marjoram. It's doing better. Lemon balm never died back from the cold. I did plant dill here. However, it takes a while to sprout. So, is that a sprout down there? No, that's a weed. Please ignore the weed. My Opuntia cactus is none the worse for wear, even though we had some very cold weather this year. Oh, I see some of my daffodils are starting to bloom. There's a small one there. Next week, they'll be in full bloom, more than likely. And I put these daffodils here, but to be truthful, I don't remember which ones they are. Here you can see they're starting to open. I imagine they're yellow, because I like yellow colors. Yellow is one of those few colors that stands out from a distance. If you want to notice something, have it be yellow. Reds and blues recede. Yellows tend to really pop out in your face. Let's see if anything daffodil-wise is blooming in the front. No, they're all coming up. I planted them this fall, but so far, no blooms. Oh, I have an azalea. Oh my gosh, they're early. Well, this is the sunny side of the hedge. Let's see if I can take a picture of that without falling over. Beautiful. I do like the look of that Opuntia cactus. Here I see there are some flowers. Spring is here on my witch hazel, or Laura petalum. Cryptomeria has got a whole bunch of new buds, which is good. Too early to say on the cassia, that dead stick, to see if it's alive or not. I'm pretty sure it probably made it. I'll tell you why. Because I don't really want it there in front of this palm. And so if you don't want a plant to come up, more than likely it will come up and thrive there just to tick you off. Oh, there's Dilly. I do notice that the new green growth that was coming on my fig got zapped this last cold spell. Hopefully, there was no dieback of the fig up until then, so we'll see what happens. There you can see the sawtooth camellia, has no name. That is the unfortunate part about that particular camellia. It's a late bloomer, and frost turns the buds brown and mars them. So it's very rare that that camellia will put on a good show. Let's see if I can get up close underneath that. Nah, not really. Still have some hyacinths coming up. Ooh, I have some irises. Bearded iris coming up. That batch I brought from New York when I sold my property up there. They should be red. They were very prolific in my northern garden. I planted a small batch like that, and within about 5 years I had about a 6-foot patch. So I was hoping they would grow. However, it's been 5 years since I planted that. Not doing real well down here. Too much heat. Camellias are just about... Oh. Brushfield yellow has finally bloomed. It is supposedly a yellow camellia, although it looks more beige than yellow to me. If I can find a pretty flower, that would be the plant of the week. That's the last of my camellias. This one is still going strong. Royal Velvet. It has humongous flowers. And they are a beautiful red color. They're a maroon red. They're like an apple red, if you will. Not a tomato red. I can see some frost damage that I'll have to clean up off the palms, but I'll wait a while. I finally did get the lawns mowed. We put it off the last couple of times because it's been so cold. And my banana trees made it. I have yet to spread out the green leaves, but I'm waiting to get rid of these weeds down there before I spread those leaves around. It'll happen this week. The one thing about gardening is it's never done. So you might as well learn to live and enjoy what you have as opposed to what it's going to look like. Because it's never going to look like exactly what's in your mind. Enjoy what you see. Oh, I see the Philadelphius is starting to set out leaves. You can see my neighbor's new driveway. She had it extended. I think I'm going to be losing this rosemary and planting another one. This lavender has done exceedingly well. That's why I planted the others in the pots on either side of the gate. In 2 weeks, we plan on getting rid of the tops of all of my satsumas. Oh, buds on my Pine of Mobile. This azalea was one of the original azaleas to my house when I bought it 30-some years ago. Oh, and I see my yard man left his shovel. Pieris japonica, still in bloom. This is where I planted one of the new Lenten roses. I will have to put a stick around it or something because everyone wants to use that electrical outlet by stepping in that spot. So I need to put something there to protect it from feet. This one is blooming. That's the one I got prior week. And my mandevilla is blooming again. Fixing to bloom again. This is the Lenten rose that's over there. It's the same one. It seems to do really well, so I figured if it does well, buy more of it. Plus it was on sale, which makes it nice. Still have my daffodils coming up nicely, as are my camellias. And I found Godot's water dish. Godot is my tortoise that comes back every spring and summer. So I'm starting to keep water in it so that when he shows up, he will have something to drink. I always keep water in these baths, but he's so small that he can't get up to the bath to get at the water. I'm going to be cleaning this out this week, and I've decided that I'm going to put vinca somewhere else this year. This is now going to be turned again, it was many years ago, into an herb bed. And like the song, I like to look at it and remember things in my mind. I plan on planting parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme in that garden, so that song will go through my mind every time I look at it. I'm a Simon and Garfunkel fan. My bay leaf tree is doing well. You can see inside the window my poinsettia is in full bloom. Tray garden is doing fine. And my thyme does pitifully for me, so I will see if thyme will grow in that bed. And again, we're going to top these trees off. I'm going to cut these satsumas down to 8 foot. Flatten the tops so that they're even with the top of my fence. It'll make it easier to get at the fruit. And, yeah. It'll make it easier to get at the fruit. Here's what I did this week. I wound up dressing up with gloves, leather gloves, and a long sleeve jacket, and cleaned up these cycads. Cycads well, they are poisonous. They have 2 poisons, one of which is a neurotoxin. But the little thorns that are all in there have a poison on their tips, so that if they puncture the skin, it feels like a bee sting. My fountains here are going. Again, the Pieris japonica. I may try to work another one of those in somewhere. I'll have to go this week and still see if they have them for sale next door. It looks like my lady palm has made it. Yay! That's really the only palm I have to worry about losing, because it's not quite hardy enough for this zone. There's another one there that's doing pitifully, but it's still alive. David is looking lush and green. and his covering of Fatseas. And here, I don't know as if you can see, but these thank you for that. These branches are absolutely covered in blueberry blossoms. So I will have me some good blueberries this year. I had a couple of handfuls last year, but it's promising. As long as the bees can get to them, I'll be okay. Back in here, I haven't done too much since I've been feeling off, but it still looks good. Things still happen in the garden, whether you're feeling good or not. So it pays to get out there. You might get cheered up by what you see. Here are the daffodils that I've been cutting. And the forsythias, or forsythias, depending on how la-di-da you feel on the day, are still in bloom. Forsyth discovered them, so they really should be called forsythia. And I noticed my strawberries have a blossom. The first of many, I hope. Satsubas look pitiful, but it is what it is. I have to get in there and shake the tree and just let them fall and add nutrients to the ground. I will have to get in here this week and clean up all those ferns, because you can see they're starting to sprout around inside, and I just need to get there before they get too much bigger, because it makes it a lot easier if you can use hedge trimmers. And here was the big move of the week, is we did a light pruning of my roses, so much so that we yanked them out. I decided I'm getting too old to be pricked every time I get in there to weed by a rose bush that has beautifully scented flowers but don't last a single day in the heat. So I decided to get rid of them. I wasn't sure about the boxwood hedge, so we cut it down. That hedge is over, well, it's 30 years old. So the roots go down to China. So I am anticipating a nice, lush, low hedge to come back. We shall see. If not, I'll yank those out and put something else there. Well, I won't. My yard man. I put my cushions out today, at least the ones that I keep in this can. But everything here is looking nice and green. I had to break out the hose yesterday and water everything. This next week, we're going to be doing a little bit of work under the deck. The deck has a little divot here that's going to be straightened out. I should really replace the whole deck, but I'll straighten it for another year. Here I did notice my plumeria is starting to send out some growth at the tips, which is looking good. Of course, the boxwood's still doing well. I think I did lose, that banana's doing fine. I think I did lose this. Yeah, I did. It's all gushy. My, what was it? Pitcher plant. That was the one that was Charlotte. So in any event, I'll have to buy another one. Those pots have no bottom hole, so they're perfect for bog plants. But there you have it for today. Oh, and if you can see, the very top of my Canary Island date palm is still green. It's sending out new green growth. So that means it made it through the winter. So yes, it's been a decent winter so far. It is a beautifully sunny day. And I plan on sitting out here reading my gardening magazines. I have horticulture and fine gardening. I got a fine gardening about a week ago, so I plan on sitting here and reading that. So until next week, take care and hopefully get out and enjoy that garden some. Have a good week.